Hi, Richard Gage, architect, AIA, here with Protecting All Protectors Alliance at the NFPA convention. And we have with us one of our esteemed guests, Raul Angulo. 40 years of emergency services experience, retired now from Seattle Fire Department. I am honored, Raul, to have you here with
Thanks
us
for
today,
inviting
and
me,
yesterday,
Richard.
and the day before.
Yeah.
We've had some incredible opportunities and conversations here. We just gave a half-hour presentation on the expo floor here in the theater. Can you tell us how that went?
It went good. I think we started by saying and acknowledging that it's kind of a visceral, emotional topic still for many people. But a key thing to remember is that, especially at World Trade Center 7, the event is over 20 years old now. It's what, 23 years old now? 23 years old. Building 7 was never hit by a plane. Building 7 didn't lose any firefighter lives. And so basically we have a building fire, and on any other day, this would be the case study of the century. If you look at the fire behind you, the first interstate fire, I know this fire well, and the flame volume on that was spectacular. After reviewing a lot of the footage on Building 7, you can see that the volume of flames is nowhere in comparison to all these other photos of high-rise fires in the past. And yet, one thing I didn't know that I have since learned, since being involved with this alliance, is that there's never been a collapse of any Type 1 fire-resistant construction building ever in the USA, North America, or in the world for that matter. Type 1 fire-resistant construction, that's important to remember. It has to be in the category that would be covered in the International Fire Code. Okay, so that being said, it's time to ask the hard questions about Building 7, and that's what we did today. It puts me on the spot because, as you said, I'm the author of Engine Company Fireground Operations 4th edition, published by Jones and Bartlett, but it's in conjunction with NFPA. And that logo means a lot to me because, to me, that represents integrity, reliability, most important, truth. And as an author writing under that banner, that's the type of information I want to convey. So it still requires a lot of study. In doing that, I've also studied the NIST report and their conclusions, and now I can say definitely it doesn't make sense. This new phenomenon or discovery that Dr. Shazam Sunder says, it should be so significant that we should be studying this. Yet, no book that I've read, none of the books that are published, including the newest one that came out of FDNY, High-Rise Buildings by Chief Jerry Tracy, Chief Murtaugh, and Chief Jack Murphy, they mention nothing about a spontaneous or sudden collapse due to thermal expansion and progressive collapse due to office fires. So that's the dilemma that we are facing. And so now either our strategy and tactics have to coincide or accommodate what NIST is warning us about. And here's the thing, is that if it were true that we would have thermal expansion that would cause this collapse, this progressive collapse, we don't know when that's going to happen. We're not in there with thermometers. We have no way of determining what the heat is on those affected floors. So we would have to prepare that this is an event that could happen. But that is not what Type 1 fire construction is supposed to be about.
What is it supposed to be about?
Well, they're basically giant incinerators, right? That if the fire department took no action and would rely on sprinklers, because many are sprinklered, and 7 was sprinklered, that they're designed with a 3-hour column rating that they can withstand a fire, and that the combustion of the fuel load would be exhausted. In other words, the fire would burn out before there would be any structural integrity that was compromised. And that's why we rely on, and that gives us the most operational time in high-rise buildings. So, but if the University of Alaska report is correct, and they're saying that the only way you can have this type of free fall collapse is from the sudden simultaneous removal of a horizontal plane of columns all at once, well, that makes sense. And our strategy and tactics are current, and they don't need to be changed at all. And that's kind of where we're at. I'd like to bring your attention to this little Jenga. Is that what this thing is called? Jenga. Many of you have seen this because you don't need to be a structural engineer to understand what's being said. But if you were to remove any of these columns here on the corner, right, and take it out, I don't know if I can get this to work. Oh! It tipped over. It tipped over. It didn't free fall in its own footprint. I mean, it's that simple. It's that simple.
Wow.
So anyway, well, we're here to petition the NFPA that they should do a formal review and compare the University of Alaska report and the NIST report, and they have to validate one or the other.
Wow.
But you can't have it both ways.
Because the firefighters are confused, I imagine, if you're routinely, as firefighters, going into buildings that have a few small scattered fires like this, and with the fear that the building could come down on you. I mean, how does that work?
Exactly. Well, that's the reason why we can do these prolonged interior attacks like LA City did. I mean, they were staged in here for numerous hours waiting for those 4 floors to burn down. The heat was so tremendous that they couldn't do any operations in the upper stories. They had to rely on Type 1 construction to do its job as designed, to let that fire burn down, and the building would contain it until the temperatures dropped and the volume and intensity of the fire dropped, so that firefighters can get in there and then fight the fire.
That makes sense. Now, have you run into any prominent individuals here at the conference that that you can mention?
We did talk to a couple of FDNY firefighters, so it was good because they're ready to listen now. It's hard still, and it was emotional, but it's been 20 years, and we're still trying to find the truth. And I don't understand why this building is off limits. I mean, they didn't lose anybody.
Why we can't talk about it?
Why we can't talk about it? Yeah, this is what we need to talk about. So that was good, and what's most important is that we met the editors of a couple of international journals, International Firefighter and International Fire Protection, who is requesting articles from us. Well, I don't have that one. And then also the International Fire and Safety Journal. And these are international publications. There's a USA version and there's an international version. So they've requested that myself or in conjunction with the members of the teams, with Paul Cayley and Tony Robbins, that we would write something for them. So it seemed like it's starting to get some traction. And to go with international magazines kind of gets us away from that emotional bubble that's protecting the United States. It's very difficult for the Americans to hear this, but the international community is much more receptive to it. So anyway, that'll help get to the truth. So.
This is great, and this is our last day. How do you feel overall about it?
I feel really good. It's a big difference from Boston. I was a little nervous because it's a controversial subject, and we were well received in Boston a couple of years ago. I missed Las Vegas, but we were very warmly received. And it's time now. I think that a lot of the emotional wounds have healed after 20 years, so now we can ask the tough questions.
Yeah. And we have a 20-foot wide booth if you want to get a pan from end to end.
It was busy all week.
Yeah, it was. We've got exposure here. We got 2 corners. We paid for 1 corner booth. We got 2. So we're doing well. Any final thoughts?
No, that's it. I just
Captain Angulo.
I just hope that people go to the Protecting All Protectors Alliance website and look for the link for Calling Out Bravo 7 2020 edition, or you can still find it on YouTube, but go to the website. But that's an important very important documentary by Paul Cayley from the UK, and really it was that documentary that changed my mind and gave me the courage to stand up with him and address this important issue. So, thanks a lot,
Beautiful.
Richard.
Thank you. This
All right.
is awesome to have you as our special
right.
guest at Protecting All Protectors Alliance. Richard Gage, AIA.